This is Aussie Mac Zone. We'll cover everything Apple, including Macs, iPhones, iPads, and more. All this from an Aussie perspective. Sit back, relax, insert yourself into the zone. The Aussie Mac Zone.
Hi everybody, welcome to show 289 Aussie Mac Zone. That's only 11 away from 300, as I'm sure you're aware, and we are planning something big for that, so I will go on to that in a little bit later in the show. Unfortunately, it's only me tonight. Zarn's off crook, so I apologise for that, but there's still plenty happening. Besides all the WWDC stuff that we haven't had a chance to talk about yet. People are finally getting their hands on some stuff. I got a little bit about that tonight, but a couple of other things that were even possibly around before or during WDC. But do you know your iPhone talks to you when you're sleeping? And this is by Jeffrey Fowler, Kerr of The Age, and which I think was also Kerr of the Washington Post. We ran a privacy experiment to see how many hidden trackers are running from the apps on your iPhone. The tally is astounding. It's 3 a.m. Do you know what your iPhone is doing? Mine has been alarmingly busy. Even though the screen is off and I'm snoring, apps are beaming out, pardon me, lots of information about me to companies I've never heard of. Your iPhone probably is doing the same, and Apple could be doing more to stop it, which they are. On a recent Monday night, a dozen marketing companies, research firms and other personal data guzzlers got reports from my phone. At 11:43, a company called Amplitude learned my phone number, email and exact location. At 3:58, another called AppBoy got a digital fingerprint of my phone. At 6:25 a.m, a tracker called Demdex received a way to identify my phone and sent back a list of other trackers to pair up with. So there is a lot more to the story, and we've got a link, of course, in the show notes to go through. He does explain a lot more about it. We're talking like, a couple of pages. It's long form, and it's important to maybe have a think about what's happening. So now, just following up on that story, sorry, not on that story. Where did I get to? I'm losing the plot here. I'm getting old, aren't I? Anyway, I'll come back to that. But yeah, please have a think about what your iPhone's actually doing, what apps you want going with it, what you don't want going with it. Yeah. So now, just following up on a previous story that we've had, both teams who were found to have hacked into Apple's system last year have been granted probation by an Australian court. The first team was 16 years old at the time the attacks began, while the second was even younger at 13. Now, background, the two high school students managed to obtain employee-level access to servers and were able, over an extended period, to download a terabyte of what were described as secure files. The original report said it was 90 gig, but much more was discovered later. Apple eventually detected the access, and the two teams used VPNs and other tools to hide their locations and IP addresses. But Apple's systems also logged the serial numbers the MacBook used to carry out the attacks. These serial numbers will link to purchase records to enable the hackers to be identified, who were from Australia. Apple reported the attacks to the FBI, which carried out a joint investigation with Australian Federal Police. So yeah. And they were also, at least one of them was advised to use his talent for good, not for evil. So maybe he'll be working for the Australian Federal Police and hacking us soon. You never know. Now, don't forget, we are brought to you by IT Help to You. Now, I do have a new website going on. I spent a couple of hours last week making a dark mode website, so it's totally dark mode to start with, and then I'll come back to putting a button on there so you can decide whether you want dark mode or light mode, depending on what your actual iPhone or iPad or computer actually asks for. you click the button and it'll remember it. But I want to test it and make sure it's all working first. So there we go. Took a little bit, and it's not a matter of just changing the white to black and the black to white and black to grey or whatever. But it wasn't that hard. But yeah, ithelptoyou.com.au. Go and have a look. Tell me what you think. So here we go. Would you like spies with that? Police can snoop on McDonald's and Westfield Wi-Fi customers. An exclusive story for the Guardian Australian edition reports. Documents reveal rushed encryption legislation allows police to compel Wi-Fi providers to turn over information about users. People accessing the internet at McDonald's and Westfield in Australia could be targeted for surveillance by police under new encryption legislation, according to the Home Affairs Department. A briefing by the department, obtained under the Freedom of Information, reveals that police can use new powers to compel a broad range of companies, including social media giants, device manufacturers, telco, retailers, and providers of free Wi-Fi to provide information on users. Now, the Telecommunications Access and Assistance Act, which passed Parliament in December, prompted warnings of legislative overreach, particularly due to the large number of offences, with a prison sentence of 3 years, which brings suspects within reach of the new powers. Despite warnings from the tech sector it would harm Australian companies and a promise from Labor to amend the law, the re-election of the Morrison government means it will continue in its current form, at least for this term of Parliament. The departmental briefing gives an example of potential targets for technical assistance and technical capability notices, which give law enforcement agencies the power to compel cooperation from designated communications providers. Social media companies, including Facebook, search engine Google, equipment providers, including the Apple Store, cloud computing providers, providers of free Wi-Fi, including McDonald's and Westfield, and any Australian retailer who offers a mobile phone app for online shopping or offers an application for mobile viewing are named as potential targets. So there you go. We're slowly getting squeezed, aren't we? Now, Zarn being unwell, and I hope you're feeling better, buddy, but our gaming section, Cult of Mac reports how to use a PS4 or Xbox One controller with iOS 13 and iPad OS and tvOS. iOS 13, iPad OS and tvOS 13 will finally allow you to play games with a PlayStation 4 or Xbox One controller. That means there's no need to purchase a pricey MFI controller that is restricted by Apple's outdated gamepad guidelines. Simply connect one of the controllers you already own and you're good to go. Here's how to set up using a PS4 or Xbox One controller with your iPhone, iPad or Apple TV. There's no need for third-party jailbreak tweaks anymore. You don't even need to download another app. Just follow the steps, which will be in the show notes, of course. I'm about to read them out to you, and connect your controller to your device. How to pair a PS4 controller. Hold down the PS and share buttons on your controller until the light on the top starts flashing. Go into the Bluetooth settings on iPhone, iPad or Apple TV and find your controller. It should be named DualShock 4. Tap to pair. Now what about your Xbox One? Power on your controller by pressing the Xbox button. Hold down the Connect button on top of your controller for 3 seconds. Go to Bluetooth settings on phone, iPad or Apple TV. It should be named Xbox Wireless Controller. Tap to pair. Now once your controller is connected, simply fire up a game with controller support and you're good to go. You should find any game that previously worked with MFI controllers should be compatible already. And we are look forward to more. Excellent. Get better Zarn, of course. Now, Madonna's new Today at Apple Music Lab teaches the art of the remix. 9 to 5 Mac reminds us Apple frequently partners with prolific voices in the creative community to support its retail, education and initiatives. The new collaboration coming this summer will be Today at Apple's highest profile yet. Apple announced that it has teamed up with Madonna to create a brand new music lab that takes musicians behind the scenes of creating a song. On June 14th, Madonna will release her latest album titled Madam X. The iconic musician will also introduce Today at Apple session attendees in Apple retail stores across the world to the art of remixing tracks in GarageBand for iOS. Like all co-created sessions, a pre-recorded video by the artist sets the tone for the lab before Apple's creative pros take over to dive into a project. Participants will use Madonna's song Crave from her new album as the foundation for their own remixes after learning what inspired the music. So I think that's pretty cool. Excellent for Madonna to give them permission to start cutting up her new song straight away. I think that's excellent. And yeah, those classes, I've been to one recently, not about the music. And I'll report on those soon after we've been to a few of them. But yeah, they are fun, and you do get introduced by a quote expert at what they're doing, and then go from there. Then the Apple, what do they call them in this one? Then the teacher, which is the Apple Creative Pro, takes over and teaches you after you've watched a little video by one of the stars of that class of lesson that you're doing. So yeah, looking forward to it. iPhone 6, iPhone 6, iOS 13 keyboard news. Now the emoji and globe keyboards are now separate. You know, they just had the globe down the bottom on the left-hand side. So now in iOS 13, you're going to have the emoji icon and the globe keyboard. So it's really easy to switch back and forward between what you want to enter. So just tap whichever one you need, choose your emoji or your different language, and go from there. Also, the new slide keyboard has not received a bagging from anybody I've heard of, so it must be working okay. You know, it's been over a week now, and I haven't heard a bagging for it, so any improvement's a good improvement, isn't it? We are brought to you by Aussie Tech Head Podcasting. Now, anybody that wants to create a podcast, I'm not sure what to do, give Glenn a ring, and he'll I promise you'll help out. That's what he's there for. Contact Glenn at Aussie Tech Heads. Their show Aussie Tech Heads Thursday night, and he's there to help. I promise you, he'll help you out. And you may even you want an audience straight away, get him to put it on Aussie Tech Radio along with our other friends at Aussie Tech Radio. You know, you've got Minecraft podcast, Geeks Interrupted, Two Blokes Talking Tech. That Minecraft one, I wonder if they're getting ready for doing that on the iPad in VR. Your Vertical Hold or your Tech Life with Trevor Long. So yeah, Apple Slice. So yeah, instant audience for you. Aussie Tech Podcasting. And get into it. Enjoy. Now, we're getting close to the end. I had a little issue with my Series 0 Apple Watch this week. It wouldn't raise to wake, which it's doing now. It turned out all my grandkids, and turn on theatre mode in Watch Control Center, because you can do it just by sliding up from the bottom, and then we tap the two faces. Now, whether we did it, mucking around, whatever. But because I didn't physically remember doing it, took me a while to work out how to just turn it off. But yeah, you just slide up, hit the two faces, turn it off, and all was good again. Simple as that. But yeah, because I personally didn't remember doing it. The kids might have done it while I was sitting on my lap. Who knows? I've also got a couple of little Safari tricks here for you. Open recently closed tabs. Have you accidentally closed a tab you didn't want to close? In the tab view, long press the plus button on the right side. You got your tabs up the top and there's the plus button. And it'll bring up a list of, if you long press it, it'll bring up a list of tabs that you've closed recently so you can open it right back up. What about finding text on a page? You can just use the Command F for find feature on a Mac to find something specific on a page. But there is also a find feature in iOS too. With the website open, type in the search box at the top and then scroll down to on this page to search for that term on the website. Alternatively, you can open up a share sheet and locate find on page button. So thanks everybody for putting up with me. I hope Zarn's feeling a lot better. Don't forget there are show notes in link each week on what you've uploaded. We're up to https://aussiemaczone.com.au/Aussie-Mac-zone-episode-289. Might have to Glenn to shorten that for us. And there you'll see at least 5 weeks show notes and links to the shows, the last 5 shows. Spotify, you just search for Aussie Mac Zone. Thanks to Aussie Tech Heads podcasting and IT help to you this week. But more importantly, thank you to our supporters, you, our listeners. Now, just before I sign off, because we haven't got Zarn to do the normal sign off, I'm thinking for show 300 we need to do something very special. So whether if we can have a quick vote about, just on Facebook or email us, just tell us what you'd like, whether you'd like to go to a pub in Parramatta, for example, and do the show live, or whether we go to the park for a day and just have a barbecue lunch at the park, supplied by us, of course. We can try and get Garth and Glenn down to Sydney, but I like Parramatta Park. It's a nice place, easy to get to for everybody. So that's a couple of things we're thinking about. But just let us know where you'd like it. If you can just give me an idea, because I can't tell where most of our listeners are, whether they're in Sydney or in Brisbane or in Surfers Paradise or in Adelaide or in Melbourne or in where else do I know that we've got listeners? We've got listeners in Bali, we've got listeners in Singapore, I know we've got listeners in New Zealand, I know we've got listeners in America, and I know we've got listeners in England. Please give us an idea of what you think we might do for number 300. It's only 11 weeks away. That's not very long, really, in the scheme of things, is it? So, good night, everybody, and thank you.